All right. It's been such a long race that it wasn't even that long of a race. It was just long because of the rain delays that I completely forgot I had to turn my microphone on. My camera reset during it, so now it's darker in here than before. It has been a day. But all in all, with all of the craziness, with all of the, I don't know what you want to call it, just oddness about this, it was won by Corey Heim. It is Heim time. I see it in the chat. We're going to get rid of this pinned message here. But yes, that was the 2024 CRC Brackleen 175 at the Pocono Raceway. 70 laps, the longest scheduled Pocono race for the Truck Series. And Fox had put on here the playoff standings with 2 races to go. Ty Majeski plus 125 basically just has to start at IRP next week, and he is locked in. After that, you got Ankrum plus 49, Enfinger plus 46, and Taylor Gray plus 39. They're pretty good, I'd say, playoff-wise. Plus 18 for Ben Rhodes, a very, very close cut line battle for him. Not as close as Daniel Dye and Tanner Gray. Dye in, Gray out. 1 point separates both of them, and only 4 points out is Stuart Friesen. Another one that I think many would be shocked by. Matt Crafton minus 47. He's going to need a win at this point unless something major happens. And Chase Purdy minus 52 in the 14th spot. And I see, what's up, Reverend Rasheem Hall Stewart for the 1994 Brickyard 400 revisited 30th anniversary. I might have a video on that next week. I might have a bit of Brickyard stuff next week. Pretty big deal, to say the least. But we got to get to Pocono first, and we're only on the trucks. This race was 70 laps long with 3 lead changes, 3 leaders, 4 caution flags, 2 hours, 6 minutes, and 2 seconds. Heim time. Corey Heim gets the win by about 9/10 over Grant Enfinger. Eckes in 3rd. Taylor Gray in 4th. 5th is Chastain. 6th, Purdy. Then Friesen, Crafton, Thompson, and Carruth round out the top 10. After that, got Matt Mills, 11th place run. Nearly got a top 10 today, but Raja got him at the line. Holmes in 12th. Sanchez, 13th. Ankrum, 14th. 15th, Mosack. Daniel Dye, 16th. 17th is Curry. Then Rhodes, Tanner Gray, and Zane Smith, the top 20. Jake Garcia, 21st on the day. Luke Fenhaus 22nd. Timmy Hill, 23rd. Massey, 24th. Ty Dillon, 25th. Chris Wright, 26th. 27th is Maggio. Carroll and Thad Moffitt round up the top 29 and lead lap trucks. After that, you got Lane Riggs, 1 lap down in 30th. Ty Majeski, 2 down in 31st. Lawless Allen, 32nd, 2 down. Shocker, Fox is already off of NASCAR. Lawless Allen, 32nd, 2 down. 3 down for Sage Karam, and the rest of these guys are out. I believe is it Dazat? He's out in 34th. Malozzi in 35th out, and Spencer Boyd last out after 5 laps in this race. And I'm going to pop this baby up on the top of the screen. The results up there, as well as the fact that we'll be live tomorrow and Sunday. And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, it's on the bottom here. Yes, Wednesday will be live on Eric Estep's channel. So there you go. That way you don't have to have me read through it again. Thank you, NASCAR Fanatic, for the 5. Congrats to Eric Jones winning at Jennerstown Speedway yesterday and Motor Mountain Masters. I race my own cars tomorrow. Nice. I'm seeing a lot of the guys, a lot of drivers doing different stuff this week. Like, I believe Chase Briscoe, he was up in Canada. I see yesterday, I see in the chat people talking about Deegan taking a run around, I believe, Iowa this weekend in an IndyCar or Indy Next. That's something that's really interesting. I'm sure that David Land probably has a video about that already. But let's stick on this race. I'm gonna be honest with y'all. There's really not much to this race. Eckes was on the pole, rained out qualifying, caused them to go off of their metrics. And it was really just Eckes led early. Heim caught him. There was a bit of racing in the back, but the first stage was pretty chill for the most part. Heim won it. over Eckes, Ankrum, Dye, Enfinger, Majeski, Sanchez, Taylor Gray, Friesen, and Tanner Gray. I mean, like I said, just very cut and dry, straightforward, really not too much, honestly, to go over with that. You had the top 12, at least the top 12 on the restart, were people who stayed out. Top 6 in running before people pit, they were the ones that also stayed out. You had the restart with Eckes and Heim again. They stay 1-2. And while it's 3 and 4 wide through the pack, again, there's just not that much movement outside of maybe Ross Chastain, who was really starting to charge his way forward. Due to the metric lineup, he wasn't really able to start up front. I believe he started 27th on the day, which makes this even more impressive. The stage 2 results were Heim, Eckes, Dye, Enfinger, Ankrum, the top 5, Majeski, and Chastain up to 7th at that point. Then Friesen, Tanner Gray, and Mills. We get a restart again, and I'll get 1 second. Mr. Penguin for the 2. Joe Gibbs is crazy to not have Heim in a car. Yeah. Because, I mean, I think there's some drama behind the scenes, if not something, at least with Ty Gibbs, I know that people have talked about. Maybe that's a reason why. But it is kind of crazy that they didn't even put him in an Xfinity car or really have that much of a plan with him. It sounds like he's just 2311's guy. And James in the chat, Jarrett, what kind of streaming software do you use for your streams and graphics? And how do you add them onto your stream? Been curious in the past few months. OBS, just normal OBS. A lot of the graphics, like for instance, like the ticker comes with OBS. Like the thumbnail I can pop up here, that you can just pop that in as a picture and make it a graphic on its own. I know it's a little too much in the weeds for a lot of people. You come here for the race, you probably don't care, but I like talking about that stuff. Sorry, I'm trying to pay attention to the super chats, but also I want to keep attention to the chat itself. Anyway, back to the final stage here. We get restarted on lap 37, so 2 and 13 up front. Garcia gets a jump, but again, it's just Heim was unstoppable today, man. I mean, Mills got past Garcia or under him, failed to get the pass done. By the time they're around to the line next time, Heim is leading. You got Eckes and Chastain who are charging up. Chastain a little further back due to some pit strategy and pit stops. Eckes due to a pit issue, 21-second stop, put him back in 16th. He was in the top 5 in like 3 laps. 26 to go. We get our real only issue of caution, like on-track caution of the day for something happening. Raja Karuth would spin in turn 1. The rain is closing in. You're thinking, man, it might actually come down to the wire. There was actually a lot of tension in the air at the end of this race when they went restarting with 22 to go. You had the 11 and 9 up front. Of course, Heim would end up pulling away, but you got, and you had Majeski who went to the pits with no power. But the real interesting part is that the top 8 or so guys were about a lap short. And, these guys know a lot of different tricks now when it comes to saving fuel, a lot of stuff like that. But at the same time, a lap at Pocono, 2.5 miles, that's a lot of fuel to save in 22 laps. And so you're seeing guys like Eckes and Ross Chastain who are backing it down. You're seeing like Enfinger and Heim who are kind of going for broke, gauging off each other. You got some in the back. I believe Nick Sanchez was the first one that could make it to the end on fuel, no problem. And it was actually gearing up, even if it had been a pretty dull race at that point, to have an interesting finish. Until 9 to go. Caution comes out for rain. They're to the pits a lap later. They tried one more time, with the clock saying 8:20, which, by the way, we'd be at the moment 5 minutes away if the race were any longer in any way from that 8:20 p.m. Eastern time cutoff. It was only a brief delay before it rained again. They bring him back to the pits. We have a longer delay, about a 30-minute delay. But finally, with 5 to go, basically 6 to go, we're back under yellow, and they get restarted with 3 laps left. It's the 11 and 19 up front. Heim and Eckes, just like they started. Heim runs off. Chastain nearly takes the 19 out. But a great save on Ekka's part. A little damage to Chastain. Didn't really cost him all that much, and it was just Heim time. You know, Corey Heim was just on it today. That team was on it. And there's really no stopping him unless some kind of shenanigans happen. There was a crash on, with I think 3 to go with the 28 that they didn't call the caution for. There was not a cause for caution for them. I think if it were any other point in the race, or rain or darkness or any of that hadn't been impending, I think that's a caution. But I'm glad they let them race. Seems like there was nothing on the track. Didn't cause any problems. I'm glad that they let them race. Just want to say that now. But all in all, as much as I've liked Pocono the last couple of years, and as much as I think Pocono as a track racing-wise has improved, this was pretty much one of the most dull races of the year. Like, it was just, I want to see out of 10. Let me know, because we're never going to put a poll out for these lower series races unless there's like no cup race for a long time or something. But let me know in the chat, out of 10. 10 being the best race you ever seen, 1 being the 2008 Brickyard 400. What'd you think of it? Sheepbots in there was a 6.5 right off the bat. Let me know. There's a 3, 4, meh out of 10. 7 I'm seeing. So, I mean, some of you guys seem to be a little more positive about it. Remember, for me, a 5 is just an average race. That's how I put it. You know, I see a lot of 4s in there. You know, I can't say this was a horrible race. You know, it wasn't a wreck fest. There was passing. But it's just stage cautions at Pocono tend to, in my opinion, ruin the strategy aspect, which is really a strong suit of Pocono, at least for the truck series, just because the stages are so short in trucks, you really can't do too much strategy with it, whereas if you had kept it green, even with the stages, I think that it would make an actually better race. I would be curious if next year, if they didn't do it, you know, at 5:30 at night on a Friday, maybe did the doubleheader day, because I had a lot of fun with that personally, having that doubleheader day. I like the lower series having a doubleheader card, but if maybe they eliminated stage cautions at Pocono and saw with at least trucks how it was. The truck series has always been, for really as long as I can remember, the experimental series. They experimented with, you know, green, white checkers in trucks. They've experimented with double file restarts. They've experimented a lot with the truck series when it comes to rules. I don't see why they can't try this one. And if it don't work, well, it was just one truck race. You know, Fox isn't putting much effort into it. Based on what a lot of you were saying, it seemed like a lot of you, if it wasn't for my streaming or checking Twitter, wouldn't have known that there was a race today. So for all we know, not many people would even know. Let me see. I want to see. Just a yes or no question here. Eliminate stage yellows at Pocono. Yes or no? I want to know what you guys think. You know, and I appreciate all y'all for sticking it out too, because this was probably supposed to be going live like an hour ago. But let me know, because I'm personally of the opinion that we should give it a shot. And I think that tracks like this, road courses, I'd say Michigan, the super speedways, I think they don't really need the caution part of the stages. I think it helps the race flow a bit better. You know, NASCAR, there's always been that talk with like, oh, races, you know, time going too long, stuff like that. You don't have to shorten the races. You just got to get rid of a lot of the stage yellows. Look at the road course races. Last year, they were like 2 hours, maybe a little less, maybe a little more without the yellows, but we didn't lose any of the racing. In fact, we got more racing. And I would be all for that. I'm with you, NASCAR Fanatic. I'm for them being gone in general. But if we're just thinking purely of what we can attain in one rule change, I'd go for that. I know a lot of people are like, well, no, I need my bathroom break. It's like, you know, got a phone. Like, we have multiple ways of streaming now. Find the Saudi stream for your phone. Then we can have, you know, you can have it on the TV and also on your phone, and you can take your bathroom break, go to the store, do what you need to do. That's for me at least where I sit with it. But we're gonna end the poll here. 88% of you say eliminate them at Pocono, where 12% of you say keep it. But yeah, it's like Noah Coleman says, the excuse that they need him for commercials is just not true, because they just put more commercials throughout the race. And the other part of it is, and this is a Fox thing, NBC thing, like, they will not go to commercial when they're just riding around under the stage yellow, but they'll go to commercial like when it's green. You know, it's like, I feel like you can eliminate at least one green flag commercial a stage by just going to commercial during the stage yellow like they say they were going to do. But, you know, what do I know? I'm only watching every single race, every single year. Yeah, but there are only 2 races to go until the truck playoffs. Next week at IRP, and then after the Olympic break, it is actually not Xfinity coming back. They get another week off after that. It's trucks at Richmond. Richmond is the cutoff for the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series playoffs before, I believe, IRP is the first race of the playoffs the day after Daytona. So we've reached that weird part of the schedule where we only have a truck race. It used to be like we only have a truck race once, and then, you know, we wait 2 months. Now we're getting that weird part of the schedule where we only have a truck race once every 3 or 4 weeks. Like, just it's a weird part of the year. Once we get into September, we're pretty much having 3 races a weekend, give or take, most weekends. You know, I know it's not everyone. I know people will pick apart me saying that, but it's just a weird part of the schedule. That's about it, man. But yeah, Richmond will be the cutoff. IRP next week. We got Indy next week. Tomorrow we got Xfinity Pocono. We'll be live after that. We'll be live after the Cup race for Pocono. Live on Eric Estep's channel this Wednesday night. Do I still have that? I have so many different like things in my. Let's see. Yeah, next week. Yeah, this coming week we'll be on Eric's channel for NWP. So definitely check that out too. David Land will be on that one. That should be fun, especially with the Haley Deegan stuff. Haley Deegan, you know, being rumored to maybe jump to open wheel or something. Maybe it's just a one-off kind of deal. But very interesting. Very interesting stuff. And it's a perfect week to have David on to talk about that. On top of going back to Indianapolis. So be sure to check out all of that. Most on this channel, then of course on Eric's, and August 20th, NWP 400. If you want to race in that, go on my community tab. Should be the latest community post I put. We have the sign up sheet for it. So if you want to race that, it's 160 laps, Gen 4 at Daytona. Sign up for it. We have 105 open spots, so there's a lot. That can come in. You know, if you're pretty good at on iRacing, check it out. But yeah, it's gonna be. I think it's gonna be an interesting weekend. I think this is the low point. I think it gets better from here. So don't get too worried, everybody. But thank you guys so much for coming on out here, and you enjoy your Friday night. There's plenty left of it, so go have some fun. Enjoy your Friday night, and I'll see you all tomorrow. Later, y'all.